Hey everyone, Burton here with JMAOffice.com, and today I will be giving you a complete overview on one of the most powerful real estate investment tools you've never heard of until today. The system will help you locate motivated sellers, motivated buyers, analyze individual properties, access nationwide MLS listings, skip trace, and even send direct marketing such as postcards, ringless voicemail drops, email campaigns, and much, much more. But enough talk, let's just dive right into it. Once you log in, you'll notice this pop-up called What's New, and this is just pretty much telling you all of the new features that we are doing on the back end and on the front end. And there are three new features that I do want to highlight. The one that we're the most proud of right now is the additional 700 boards that we've included on top of our already comprehensive MLS coverage. So this 700 has exceeded our coverage to about 92+% nationwide. This coverage has also given us daily updates, more agent information. So for those of you finding failed listings, below market price listings, or running your own comps without having to contact a realtor, you have now that ability. The second major update is the skip tracing provider. So we have gone with a new provider, a much more aggressive provider. As a matter of fact, this is one that most law enforcement agencies are using, like private investigators, law firms. So you'll have the same provider that they're utilizing. So we're very proud to say that the accuracy of our results are very, very good. The third thing that we've done is what we call the enhanced mortgage information. So we have aggressively gone out there to collect mortgage information, particularly the mortgage amount, the interest rate, the recording date, and the term. And the reason why we're doing this is we take those variables and we'll do what we call an amortized or reverse payment for you up until present day. And so this will allow you to see essentially what we believe is the correct mortgage balance or within the range of the current mortgage balance amount. And this will also allow us to calculate a better equity amount for you. So this is the What's New pop-up. Down below, you can close it. If you want to no longer see it, go ahead and check this box off and then hit close. Now, this is the search page. So once you close down the What's New, we're going to capture your IP address and zoom in on your area. But before we talk about the search page, I want to bring your attention to the left-hand side. This is your toolbar. You're going to be very familiar with this quick because you will be jumping from one section to another section. So beginning at the top is your name. Here you'll be able to apply your first, last name to this account, your email address, which is also your username. You can adjust your password, apply a logo like your business logo. Below that is your credit card info and billing information. So what this does is this will expedite some of the additional features that we have, like skip tracing, postcards, and voicemail. So rather than applying your billing information over and over again, having it here will allow you to just instantly place your order and get to the next step. The last section is the business section. So this will allow you to apply your business name, phone number, email and website, business street address. Now, the reason one would want to do this is this section ties in heavily with our postcard section. Our postcards are dynamic, so anything that you apply in this section will be instantly applied to your postcard if you're using one of our templates. And I'll show you guys that in a few moments. Below your name is the several different icons that we have, beginning with search. This is where most of your searching, filtering, analyzing, establishing notification, running comps will be performed. Properties is where we store your results. So as you're building your lists and getting your results, you'll be able to select your results, add it to a marketing list, and this is where we store your results. This is also where you'll be able to export your results as well as access some of the contracts that we have for you, like a purchase agreement or a notice of past due contract for any tenants that you might have. The third section is contacts. So this is where one would be able to manually edit their contact information. So if you're investing locally, you build a list and you went to go visit them, you spoke to an owner, they gave you a number and an email. This is a section where you'll be able to click on the property and edit that information. You'll also be able to import an outside list in this section. This is also where we're going to store your skip tracing results. The next icon is skip tracing. So this is where all of your skip tracing will be performed. So after you build the list and save it, you'll be able to select skip tracing, follow steps 1, 2, and 3, place your order, and then within less than an hour, depending on how large your list is, your results will populate. Below the skip tracing is the campaign section. Now, this is where we do the direct marketing. So after you saved a list, you've skip traced them for contact information, you can now build a specific campaign for that audience. And in that campaign that you build for that audience, you'll get one free website. You'll have the ability to send postcards, ringless voicemail drops, and email campaigns. And we'll also monitor your activity. So that way you can stay on top of what's happening. The last section is the help section. So this is where we will store our video tutorials. This is where you can get a hold of our customer support phone number and our email. So these are the features that you'll have in your JMA Office application. Again, these are the icons. This is your toolbar on the left side, but let's talk about searching. This is where most of the things that you're going to be doing is going to be performed. So when it comes to searching, you have 5 possible searches. The first search that you can perform is a county level search. So essentially what you're going to want to do is type in the name and the county, put a comma after, and the abbreviation of the state. And when you search a county, what's going to end up happening is we're going to zoom in on that area, and then we're going to populate these boxes above the map with numbers. Now, what this is telling us is that for each one of these categories, and if you can see each box has a label to it, each one of these boxes is representing how many results we have for that area. So for example, we have 89,000 MLS listings. Again, these are all active, pending, sold. So when I click on that box, you'll notice the markers are on the map. 1 will be where number 1 is at, 2 is where number 2 is at. So your results will be on the right-hand side. The numbers will be marked on the map. You can now click on your results, and every one of our properties will have what we call the details page. So here we can see property details, MLS details, comparables, so forth. Now, again, the next category you choose, pre-foreclosures, same thing happens. Pre-foreclosures show up on the right-hand side. The markers will be on the map. Again, you'll be able to click on that property and see the details. Now, if you haven't caught on, you'll notice that the tabs will change. So in the previous one I clicked on, it was an MLS property, so there was an MLS tab. For this property, it's a pre-foreclosure, so I get a pre-foreclosure tab. So depending on what is going on or what has happened to this property, you're going to see those activities. For example, pre-foreclosure, but back in 2017, this was a cash sale. So just letting you know what's happening with this property, okay, or what has happened to this property. The third box is auction. So these are all the pre-foreclosures that have an auction date. To make your life easier, we've separated it into its own category. Again, you can click on the properties, get to the details, click on the pre-foreclosure details, and now we can see when the auction date is, what the unpaid balance is, and so forth. Next box is your REOs, or your foreclosures. These are all your bank-owned properties. Fifth box is your cash buyers box. So these are all the properties in this given area that have been bought in cash at the time of the transaction. Liens are all involuntary, HOA, utility, mechanical, tax lien, so potentially a lien that can foreclose on a property. So great list to find some distressed property owners. Vacant we get from the United States Postal Service. So this is a list of properties that are not addressing their mail. So this is a list that we gather from the United States Postal Service. They're pretty much telling you, hey, there's 20,000 properties in Riverside County that aren't answering their mail. So great source of finding good leads. The next one here is high equity. So this is a category that we've came up with. The reason that we came up with this is because we started gathering the mortgage information. And so with that calculation and in gathering the mortgage balance, what we're doing is we're taking the mortgage balance, subtracting it by the market value that we calculate. And if the property has $100,000 or more in equity, after that quick subtraction, that property will populate in this box. So what it's telling me is that there's over 200,000 properties in Riverside County that are sitting on $100,000 or more in equity. Now, the last search types that we have are fairly new, so we don't have boxes for them, but they're located in the filter, and those would be the free and clear. So these are properties owned outright, bankruptcy recording, so these are properties that have filed for bankruptcy, and then divorce. These are properties that have filed for divorce. Now, divorce is fairly new, so we're still steadily building that list. Your area may not have too much, so don't be too alarmed there. But those are the filter types that we have, and that's what's going to happen when you search a county. Again, results are on the map. You can click on any of these boxes. These are all unfiltered, so you can click on liens and see your lien results on the right-hand side. The second type of search that you can perform is city level. So, for example, if I wanted to type in Atlanta, Georgia, instead of the county of Atlanta, it's going to, Fulton County, it's going to just show me the city of Atlanta's results. So here are the results that we have in Atlanta, how many MLSs we have in that area. Now, the only difference with searching a city level is now we can paint a market analysis. And what I mean by that is below the map, you're going to see the statistics. Look, we've been gathering information for the last 14 years. And all we're doing is just essentially painting the picture with that information that we have. So let's begin with the first one here. Price change. So we know that in the last 30 days versus the previous 30 days that there's been a steadily increase in price changes on the properties. Also the same thing with rent. So rent has increased by 3%. Price per square footage. So last year our algorithm calculated a price per square footage on average of 187, and today it's at 211. Days on market. So this is something that we gather from the MLS. What we do is we take the property characteristics, in this case the bedrooms, and we know when they're listed and when they sold. So what this is telling me is that in Atlanta, a 3-bedroom property on average will last about 82 days on the market before it's sold. A 4-bedroom, 98 days. So as you highlight the graph, you'll see what the average days on market is. So again, if you were to list a property today in Atlanta, on average, it'll take about 3 months or lower than that for it to sell. Market trends just breaks down the MLS listings in the last 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, or a year. In this case, in the last 30 days versus the previous 30 days, there's been less new listings that have shown up. There's been less closures in the last 30 days versus the previous 30 days. Pre-foreclosure, so this is just showing you how many we've collected last year in January, and then this is showing you how many we've collected this year so far in January. But you can see what we collected in July, October, just kind of showing you whether this area is in distress or not. Average monthly rent, again, highlight the property type or the bedroom amount. 4-bedroom usually rents out for about $29.19 on average. Now, this is not to say that every single 4-bedroom rents out for this amount. You might be, sitting on a 4-bedroom property that has a lake view. Clearly, that's going to rent out for a lot more. So remember, this is just an average. We take all the values that a 4-bedroom would rent out for, obviously average it out, and then this is how we get that value. Listing trends, a little bit more details on the MLS listing. So how many homes for sale that were listed in the last 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, or a year. Again, you get to choose. It's going to tell you whether the average listing price has increased in the last 30 days or so, whether the listing price per square footage has increased, whether the days on market has increased as well. Then you have your list price versus sell price. And then sell trends is county recorded trends. So this is the county's listing trends. They're saying that there's also been a decline in homes that have sold in the last 30 days versus the previous 30 days. However, the sell price has increased. Sell price per square footage has increased. And they also agree that there's an increase on days on market. And then you have your days on market versus inventory. Now, some of you guys may already know this information, especially if you're active investors in Atlanta. But guess what? Your sellers and buyers may not know. So if you click on this print button here, we're going to give you a PDF report that you can use. Essentially, you can print out what you just saw. And then you can use this as a tool to essentially encourage a seller that now's the time to list their property, or encourage an investor that this is a hot market right now. We need to get involved. So that is the difference in terms of searching from county to city. Obviously, besides the results being a lot lower, a city will paint the statistics for you. The third possible search you can do is zip code level. So you can type in a given zip code, and that's going to populate those results. Now, the cool thing about the zip code search is that you can do up to 5 zip codes. So here's just one zip code. This is, I believe, Lake Forest. Here's another city. And so I did one zip code in Orange County, one zip code in Los Angeles, and you're going to see how the map treats that. So here are my Los Angeles results. Here are my Orange County results. I can even, go to the complete opposite end. So if I wanted to, for example, do New York, now I'm going to see the results for all three of those areas as well. Okay, and then you can zoom out and you can see those results that you have in New York. Okay, so take a look at that. Again, that's the third possible search. The only thing you do have to just be wary about is that when you are searching more than one zip code, these statistics won't work down below. So we can't obviously paint a market analysis on separate zip codes and separate environments. But if you do just do one zip code, the statistics down below will populate. Okay. The fourth possible search is for the Driving for Dollar audience. So if you guys are out there looking for vacant homes physically, once you capture the address, you'll be able to type it in here at the top. What this means is that we have details on properties that aren't listed. We have over 160 million property records. So here's a perfect example, which is why I'm using it. This is a property I grew up with. When you type, I grew up in, it's my childhood home. So when you type in an address, what we're going to do is gray will be the subject property, and you'll notice these other numbers. These are the neighboring properties, and you'll see the neighbors over here on the right-hand side. We can see the MLS listings around the property. We can see the other, pre-foreclosures that are around the property, foreclosures around the property. So essentially a quick little market analysis, a little story it's unfolding here. Again, below you have the statistics for the zip code to that address. And then if you click on the address, again, we're going to get to the details page. But I wanted to show you this because this would be a property that would not appear in any of our listing types. And here's why. It's off market. It's not distressed, meaning it's not in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure, or does it have an auction date. There's no liens on it. It's individually owned. The equity is under $100,000, so it would not be in our equity box. So again, this would be a property not in any of these boxes, but we do have the details for you. So you type in the address, you can now know who the owners are, run your comps, see what the balance is on the property, see if there's equity. So again, very popular for Driving for Dollars. You can type in the address and we can provide you the details. All right, the last possible search is actually one of my favorites. So this is actually a search that you can do on the map itself. So how do you want to do this? The first thing you want to do is search an area, city, or zip code. Once it zooms in on that area, you'll notice at the top left of the map there is a draw search feature. So what this allows you to do is actually through several left clicks. So you'll left click, let go, move the mouse, and you'll get this line that follows you. Left click, let go, and do that again. And so you can build your shape, and you have up to 99 clicks that you can perform. Once you're done custom building your shape, you can hit search here at the top of the map, and then we're going to populate your results. Now, as you can see here, if it's too large, you won't get any results, so you might need to lower it a little bit. So that's the draw search feature. I will show you a really cool way of using the draw search feature. Here on the map at the opposite end, you have our analytics, which is actually our heat map. So by selecting that, you have 4 heat maps to choose from, estimated value. And so at a click of the button, I now know where my properties are valued at. So red represents $1 million or more, light blue represents 100 or less. And you have other subcategories, so estimated value per bedroom, or we can do MLS stats. So I can do all bedrooms. I want to show me where all the 1 bedrooms are at, or 7 bedroom properties, or show me the listing prices through the MLS data that you have collected. Price growth. So this is one of my favorites. So show me how this environment has grown in the last year. And so red represents 100% growth. Light blue represents 100% loss. And then the last category is rental value. So if you're looking to buy and hold properties or using properties as rental income, at a click of the button, you can see what the rental prices are in the area. Now, here's the cool thing that I like about the heat map. It's not just a scattered heat map. You can actually continuously zoom in on the map. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually put those dots over each individual property, as you see here. And then as you keep zooming in, you can actually now click on those individual dots, and we're going to give you the details on that property. And you can see the rental price, average comps, and so forth. Now, the other cool thing is you can click on the street right in front of it, and we're going to shoot you at ground level. So here we go. Here's our property, and we can use the arrows to go, forward and back on the map. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, right? But what you're not familiar with is this cool feature that we added, which is this icon right here. And what this does is it shows you exactly where you're at on the map, so you can drag the map rather than clicking those silly arrows and go right around the block as fast as possible. So here we are 2 blocks away. I turn around, all right, and now I can go back up the block if I needed to go back to the property. Okay, so lots of fast ways to manipulate the map. You don't have to use these silly arrows that you see on the map. All right, so that's the draw search feature and our heat map at the top right. And as I was telling you guys, you can stack them. So for example, 3 years growth, I found a pretty solid area over here near Indio. I can now use my draw search feature. Let me clear this out. So I can now use my draw search feature. Let me populate my results, get my draw search feature, and I'm going to go ahead and just highlight this area here where there's been some substantial growth. And I'm going to go ahead and hit search. And as you guys can see in just a few moments, here at the top, these are the results. And as you guys can see, if I click on like pre-foreclosure, the markers are only within these boxes or the shape that I drew out. So very powerful feature. And guys, those are the 5 searches you can do. So county, city, zip code, up to 5 zip codes, the specific property address, or you can use our draw search feature. But let's get to the bread and butter of what has made us very popular and why, again, I believe this is one of the most powerful systems out there. So what I want to show you guys is our filtering system. So as I mentioned earlier, when you search an area, in this case, if we were to search Atlanta, Georgia, your results will populate at the top. Now, you can click on that category and you just go through them manually one at a time. I wouldn't recommend that. So today I'm going to show you some examples on how we can find some distressed sellers and motivated buyers or motivated sellers and buyers. So for this example, let's say I'm looking for tax liens in Atlanta, Georgia. So there's 44,000 that I need to go through, right, if I were to do it manually. But that's time consuming. So what we can do is we can filter our results here at the top. By clicking on filter, you have over 50 different criteria to choose from. So let's start. Beginning with owner occupied, do you want the owners living in the property? So for those of you that want absentee owners, you'll hit no. For someone like me, I want the owners to be there. I do like to knock on doors, so I want an owner occupied property for this example. The list type I want to filter is the liens, but again, you can filter any of our listing types that we have here, but for this one, I'm going to do liens. And now I can start working my way downward. So property characteristics. So I'm looking for a single family property or a multifamily property, so you can choose more than one if you like. For this one, just single family. I want it between 2 to 5 bedrooms. I can apply a certain square footage, a certain year built. So I want properties built in 1980 or later. I can apply bathrooms. So bathrooms are between 1 and 4. Lot size, as well as home features down below. So I know Atlanta can get cold sometimes, so maybe we can find properties that have a fireplace, for example, or a fireplace and an air conditioning. So you have these features to apply. This is your property characteristics section. The next category is MLS status. So now what we're doing is we're taking the county recordings, right, the lien recordings, and we're crossing it through the MLS. So we can say, hey, I want a property that has a lien that's currently active on the market, or failed, or it's sold, or it's pending. Or for some of you, maybe you don't want it on the market, right? Maybe you don't want the owners to have signed a contract yet. And that's an example I'm going to be using today. However, in this category, you can search for a description. So every agent will put a description on the MLS. So you can search for a certain keyword like plumbing or septic tank or fireplace or needs rehab, for example. To the right of that, again, you can choose the status that it would be in, the listing amount, minimum and maximum, the listing date, days on market. So if you're looking for something that has lasted for at least 80 days or more, you can type that in. Do you want this property listed as a rental on the MLS? Yes or no. Did you want this property listed below our market price? Yes or no. And then for this example, do you even want it on market? So I'm going to say, no, I don't want it on market. I want to get to these owners before they call a broker. So that's our MLS status. Next status is foreclosure status. So here we can specify whether the property is going through a pre-foreclosure, a foreclosure. We can select a document type. the listing date of the foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, the default amount recorded on that, or when the auction will be held at. So for this example, let's say pre-foreclosures are very competitive. So I want a property that's not yet in pre-foreclosure. Okay, so the idea is I want to get to them before they sign a broker contract. I want to get to them before the court notifies the public about the notice of default that's going to happen. Right? And that is our foreclosure status. Next is ownership info. So here we can specify how many years the owner has lived there, whether the owner is a corporate owned, whether the property is corporate owned or individually owned, when the property last sold, which is similar to years of ownership, what the property last sold for, whether the owner is out of state. So if you're looking for absentee owners, we can narrow it down even further and find the ones that are out of state. And then vacant. Do you want these properties to also not be answering their mail? So you have these criteria in the ownership info. For this example, I want owners that have lived in the property for 3 years or more, and I only want to deal with individuals, no corporations. All right. Next category is an important category. Being that I'm searching for liens, clearly the lien section is important. So here I can specify when the lien was recorded. For example, I want the liens from 6 months ago. So go back to about June 1st of 2018. I can put a lien amount. So I'm looking for liens starting at $3,000 or more. I can specify the lien type. So I'm looking for tax liens and HOA liens, for example. I can also specify whether the property has gone through a divorce filing or a bankruptcy filing. And so that's the lien, divorce, and bankruptcy section. The next section is value trend. So here I can put an estimated value on the property. So for example, show me properties no more than $700,000. I can apply a estimated rental income. So if I'm going to be using it as a rental property and I need it to rent out for $2,500 or more, I can apply that here. We can apply a growth percentage. I showed you guys the growth map, and you can go back 5 years, but this section allows you to apply a growth percentage over the last year. And then the last, but certainly not the least, is the equity and mortgage information. So here you can put a hard dollar amount for the equity that you're looking for. So if you have a buyer that needs only $50,000 or more, you can put $50,000 minimum, leave max open, or cap it. Most of you are going to probably use a percentage, which is what I do. For example, we want properties that have at least 60% in equity. Numbers of mortgages, total mortgage amount, interest rate on that mortgage, loan to value ratio, mortgage term, mortgage maturity date, the type of loan that was used, or whether the property was a cash bought property at one point, or whether the property is currently free and clear. So again, this is a very comprehensive filtering system. And as you can see here on the right-hand side, it's just painting the story of what you've done. So once you've applied your filter, you're going to go ahead and hit apply down below. And just like that, we now have our results on the right-hand side. So we went from 44,000 recordings in Atlanta to 79 of them that fit my criteria. And again, here's the criteria in your filter. And so now that we have our 79 properties, this is again what has separated us from every other provider out there. You have the ability to click on each one of these results and confirm what you've asked for. So for example, 87 Hammock Place, when I click on that, I can see the property image. I can click on the property, get the bird's eye view, get that street level view we were talking about earlier. And then after I'm done looking at the property image, below that is the property characteristics, which match my criteria, the estimated value. It's off market. That's what status means. So it's not listed. Is it in pre-foreclosure, foreclosure? No. What's the lien recorded amount? So this property has a $9,000 lien recorded against it. It's individually owned. The owner is occupying the property, single family property. Here's our estimated value. So this is an algorithm that we're using. We take the county recorded comps, we take the MLS comps, and we put them together and we calculate what we believe to be this property's value if it were rehabbed in today's market. Now, to the right of that, you have the comparables that our system will capture for you. So our system believes there are 12 comps within a half mile. The average is 450. Days on market are 54. However, you have full control over that, and I'll show you guys how you can run your own comps. To the right is our opportunity. So here it's telling us how much equity we're calculating, what the monthly rent would be for this property, the mortgage balance, so does this property have a balance or not, and then the lien amount. Now, all of this information is scattered in these several tabs down below. So beginning with property details, we now know who the owner is. We can see if there's an alternative mailing address. We have his property characteristics, site information, assessment information, last sale information. So here's a sale back in 2001. And then again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, we're aggressively hunting down mortgage information. So here we have the first mortgage back in 2001, the interest rate, mortgage term, prior sale information. And then to the right of property details, we have the lien details. So here we can see that there is a state tax lien. The lien amount was originally at $4,000. It's now at $9,000. So lien details are there for you guys. To the right of that is the comparables and nearby listings. So this is where you have full control of running your own comps. You don't have to go by our numbers. So the comparables and nearby listings, when you click on that, you'll get all of these boxes right below it. The first three are your most important ones. These are the comps. Comps represents county recordings, neighbors represents your neighboring records, MLS represents the MLS listings around the property. Everything to the right are the other listings, pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, liens, cash buyers, and so forth. So let me show you a quick example of how we can run our own comp. So we know the property is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, square footage is 2425. So we'll click on the county recorded comps first, and we'll do that. 3 bedrooms, and then we'll do square footage, let's say 2,400 to 2,500. And then bathrooms we want between 2 and 3. All right, and then we can increase that to go 1 mile since those criteria don't fit within a half-mile radius, but within a 1 mile radius, we have 3 comps. Here are those 3 comps. We have some dollar value. Now, 1 is slightly out of the value, so number 2 might be in a very high area. However, we can deselect that. So we have 2 comps here. And so once we run our comps, we can look at our average sell price. But as you can see here, doesn't seem about right. So county recorded comps, something's lacking here. Don't worry about it. You have neighboring records. So now we can look at our neighboring records and we can see, oh, okay, look, number 4 sold about 2 years ago. That too is a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, just like my property here at the top. However, that sold for $437. So clearly our comps recording didn't help us out, but our neighboring record did, right? We have a property that's very similar. 2 years ago, it sold for $437. So now we can compare our apples to apples. And guess what? It's only 2 doors down to the right of our property, okay? Now, that's using neighboring records. The last comps that you can run is the MLS. So this is what a realtor would do. They go within a 1 mile radius around the property, and they look at all the listings. So here, we're showing you the 150 MLS listings around the property. So as you zoom in, you're going to be able to see that. Oh, looks like we have a little lag here. So there we go. So sorry about the lag, guys. But here are the 150 most recent listings. So here we can see our active, we can see our sold, or we can make it easier for us. Again, we can filter. So we're looking for all the 3 bedrooms, 2 to 3 bathrooms within a 1 mile radius. And so when we do that, the numbers will decrease. So here, oh, in this case, the same number. Let's go back maybe 5 months. So we'll only go as far back as September 1st. And so we have 19. And so here we have our sold, failed, active, or to make it easier, we can say, hey, show me just the sold listings from September on. So here are 14, and we can see their listing prices. Again, all we're doing is comparing apples to apples. Or we can show our active listings so we can see what's currently on the market now. Here's a great example. Number 1 is just east of our property, 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom, listed for $415. Okay, so again, you have full control of running your own comps to get your own ARV. And again, everything to the right of MLS is the nearby listing. So pre-foreclosures, foreclosures around the property, liens around the property, or better yet, you even have like the cash buyers. So these are the 150 cash bought properties around this given area. So easy to find a buyer that's already invested. Okay, so guys, that's the comparables and nearby listings. Then you have your tax information. which is going to give you your total assessed value, land value, and improvement value. You have the mortgage information, so this is showing you all the mortgage information after the original sale. Transaction history to confirm that information, documents, and reports. So here in the documents reports, on the left-hand side is the analysis wizard report. So you'll be able to get access to this after you run your analysis wizard. To the right, you have your premium reports. You have your assessor's map and your document image scan. So if you want to purchase the grant deed on the property, you have that ability. And that's the property details page. And again, guys, every one of the 79 results that we pulled, you can click on them and here they go. You have the information readily available to you, showing you that information, okay? Now, the other tools I want to show you is in the property details page here at the top, you have the print button, analysis, and save, and rehab calculator. So beginning with print, if you click on that, what we're going to do is we're going to generate a CMA report for you, or a comparative market analysis report for you. We take all of the information we just went over and we slap it on a very beautiful PDF report for you guys. So here's an example of what that's going to look like in just a second. So here's the image of the property, characteristics, comparables, opportunity, last market sale, owner information, lien history. Here are the comparables around the property, and then here is the statistics from the first page. So very beautiful report. Again, you guys want to use this to encourage ultimately. All right. All right, next is the analysis wizard. So if you're interested in the property, this is where you can run your numbers. So property is valued at $376 in our system. Let's say we got a great deal. We got it from the owner for $180. We can apply our improvements. So we can, let's say we want to put $40,000 into it. I know it seems a lot, but actually I'm going to show you guys how we can get a really accurate value here in just a few moments. But we apply our improvements. The next page is our mortgage information. So, what type of mortgage are we using? So we did use a mortgage. It was $250. We can put our down payment. We can put our term, so 15 years. For you hardcore investors out there, if it's an interest only or combination, you can choose the type of mortgage you're using here at the top. So term, rate, when you're making your first payment, how frequent the interest is compounded, is it a balloon payment, will it be an adjustable rate mortgage? So as you choose your options, more filters will populate, so just be aware of that. Once you're done with that, you're going to hit next. You'll have your mortgage information here at the top. You'll be able to hit amortize, and we'll give you a PDF report amortizing your payments for you based on your terms. Below is your closing costs. Once you hit next, the next section is your income. So for those of you renting out your property here, you can apply your rental income. You can break down the property into several units. So if you have a 5-bedroom property, you want to rent out each bedroom, you can break it down into 5 different bedrooms. You have miscellaneous incomes from laundry to late charges to other sorts of fees, management fees that you can apply. What's your annual income increase? So do you increase your rental income by a percentage or fixed dollar amount every year? So that's your rental, that's your income tab. The expense tab is, what's the monthly expenses for owning this property? And again, you can increase your annual expenses by percentage or fixed dollar amount. The next section is the sell. So here it's telling you what you bought it for, and now it's going to ask you how are you selling it. So are you selling it when it's hitting a market value increase, or a cap rate, or an inflation rate, or a fixed selling price? So we fixed it up, and now we're going to list it for, let's say, $400,000. Below you have your sell cost type, percentage, or fixed dollar amount. So we can say, again, $400,000 here is what we're going to sell it for. Oh, sorry, there's no sell costs. Fixed dollar amount, $400,000. Tax, so you can apply your tax information. Depreciation information. I would highly recommend you guys obviously speak to your loan officer or an accountant for this type of information. Otherwise, I would leave it alone. But at the very bottom is your analysis period. So we normally run the analysis for 5 years, but earlier we realized that a 3-bedroom property lasted 89 days, which is about 3 months. So we can run this analysis period for 4 months, and now we can see what our return on investment would be. So we bought it for 180, put 40 into it, calculated our expenses and our income, and then sold it for $400,000 within 4 months. This is what my return would be in 4 months after it sells. And you got your breakdown here in the information tab. And then your last tab here is the analysis. So now that we've applied our variables, you can print out each report individually, or you can download the complete analysis. And what that's going to do is print out this PDF report for you. And so based on your variables and the numbers you have applied, you have your complete analysis report broken down for you. Okay. All right, guys. Now, I just mentioned how I came up with that 40,000 rehab costs. That was just an estimate, an assumption. We do have a really cool tool called the Rehab Calculator. This is going to blow your mind. So by clicking on the Rehab Calculator, you're going to be able to save the property. So go ahead and hit OK. Once you save the property, click on the Rehab Calculator again, and we're going to redirect you to Blue Hammer, which is the provider for this Rehab Calculator. Now, Blue Hammer is used by major insurance companies. What they do really well is provide local level costs on labor and parts. So I'm going to give you an example. So I assume $40,000 because let's say in that given example, we needed to rehab the bathroom and the kitchen. So once you save the property and go to Blue Hammer will capture the address. You can confirm that here. Then you want to start a new project, or if you already did one, you can open an existing project. For those of you that are new, you're going to start a new project and name the project. So we're going to call this the kitchen and bathroom project. And we're going to hit, oh, sorry, not project, but project. We're going to hit let's go, and it's going to take us to the next page. So here in the next page, for you advanced rehabbers, you'll be able to search by individual action. So if you know what parts and pieces and line items you need to complete a bathroom project, you'll click on bathroom, choose your subcategory, and then remove or install, and so forth. So as you're choosing these line items, Blue Hammer is going to calculate your costs for you. Now, if you're like me and have no idea what you're doing, you want to search by popular projects. And what this is going to do is Blue Hammer is going to give you the projects that most rehabbers will do when fixing up a property. And as you can see here, we're going to choose kitchens. And then it's going to give you the popular subcategories like cabinets and countertops. And then obviously after you've made an appointment with the owner, you'll be able to take your measurements. But let's assume it's a medium-sized kitchen we're dealing with. You can click on that. And then you can choose the type of material you want. So we can choose the best materials in the neighborhood or the cheapest materials in the neighborhood or somewhere in between. And then it's going to ask you, where are you making these repairs? So these repairs are going to be made in the kitchen clearly. I'll hit add to estimate. And now I have my local level costs on an average. So this is my costs on average. This is my do-it-yourself cost. So if I were to go buy out the pieces by myself, this is what it would cost me. Project details breaks down your line items, and then project reports allows you to print out your report. Okay. Now, the cool thing with Blue Hammer is you can stack projects. So we did the kitchen. Now we can do the bathroom. So again, popular projects, bathrooms, shower and tub. I want to replace the shower and tub with the ceramic tile one. And then I want to use, again, a good material quality. And then I'm going to put these repairs in the bathroom. Just a second, my value has increased. So in fact, it wasn't 40,000. It was actually 23,000 plus or minus. I can go to my project details and I can see my bathroom line items and my kitchen line items, and again, my project report. Now, I do want to make this clear. This is not to say that if you go to a contractor today in Atlanta and tell them I want a bathroom and kitchen done and this is what I need, that they would say would be exactly $23,401. Nope, that's not how it works. The way it works is this is a foundation to work upon, right? If you did not know any of these values or line items, you would have called the contractor and they could have given you any value, and you would have to have gone by that. Or you would have called 5 contractors and then gone with what you believe is the most trustworthy one. The way that this works is now I have an average value. So now when I am calling a contractor, if they say $32,000, that's going to catch me off guard. I'm going to ask for their line items, and now I can compare the typical line items to perform this project with their line items and see where they're getting that extra $9,000 from. So again, Blue Hammer Rehab Calculator, located in your properties page, very powerful with getting your costs, especially when you're dealing in an area you're not familiar with. Okay, and guys, that's the property details page for you. So every result that you populate on the right hand side, or if you're driving for dollars and typing the address, you'll get that property details page. So in this case, I built the liens, got 79. I liked my results. I can now either highlight them all by checking off this box here at the top, or select the ones that I want and save that to a list. So for this example, I'm going to highlight them all and add it to a list. I'm going to call this my Atlanta tax liens, 60% equity. And I'm going to save that. So I've now built a list. What our system's going to do is remove any duplicates. So liens typically get duplicate recordings, and as you can see here, there was a few properties that were recorded twice. So instead of 79 recordings, well, there are 79 recordings, there are 73 original properties. Okay, so that's done. Liens are saved to a list. A cool thing that you can do, guys, to save your time is hit the Save Search button at the top. So once you build your filter, get your results, you can save that search, call it whatever you want, apply your details, so single family, 60% equity, tax lien, 3K or more, for example. The third step is, do you want to replace any of these boxes at the top? So if there's a category you don't use, you can actually replace it. For example, if I want to replace the cash buyers box with my template, I can do that. If you don't replace your boxes, we're going to store them in the All Searches folder here at the top. The last thing here is by far the most important thing here is we can notify you when new updates populate. So when we're doing updates, if another property that fits your criteria shows up, when we do an update, we can email you immediately, daily or weekly. So we can essentially become your personal assistant. So you'll set that up, hit save, and now anytime I get a new update that fits my criteria, or anytime this area updates and a criteria fits mine, I'm going to get an email notifying me of that. All right, guys, so done. Sellers are done just like that. I know it took a little bit longer because I wanted to go over the details, but as I mentioned, you guys can filter any of our criteria. So I just, in front of your face, built a list of tax liens that are off market, not in pre-foreclosure. Now I can build a list of cash buyers. So for this example, let's say we're looking for non-owner occupied buyers. Most buyers don't occupy their property. So non-owner occupied cash buyers for listing types. I want cash buyers buying single family properties built after 1980. I don't know if you guys are seeing what I'm doing, but all I'm doing is matching characteristics with my sellers. And then here's where we take it a whole different level. So what we're able to do is cross-reference county records with MLS records, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for cash buyers within the last year that listed their property either, and when they listed, it's either active now, pending, or sold. So I'm looking for a buyer that listed their property and it's currently active, pending, or sold, but I want them to have listed it on or after October of last year. So again, I'm asking for the system to find me a buyer that bought it in cash and then listed the property after or on October 1st. Now we can go through, for example, ownership info and say, you know what, I just want the individual buyers. I don't want corporate buyers, just individual buyers. And as a matter of fact, I want them to have bought it between January 2018, so January 1st of 2018, to, let's say, August 1st of 2018. So I don't know if you guys can see my criteria here at the top, but here's what I'm saying. Or actually, let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's go a little bit further. Let's go to September 1st. We get a little bit more results here. All right, boom. So if you guys can read my criteria. So it's a very specific criteria, but I want to show you why this is a very powerful system. But I just told the system, in Atlanta, go through your cash buyers results that we have. Find me the single family buyers that are buying properties built in 1980 or after. They listed it on the MLS and it's currently active, pending, or sold, but they listed it on or active or after October 1st. However, I want them to have bought the property in cash between January and September. And here are my two results. And now we can click on them, right? And we can verify it. So here's why, again, I wanted to show you guys this. So we have a cash sell tab. So it's telling us that the buyer paid $89,000 for this property on July 31st. The buyer is Michael. And then we have the MLS details. So we can click on that. So Michael has decided to list the property after buying it. So he bought it in July for $89,000, probably spent a few months rehabbing it, and then he listed it on October, 3 months later, for $199,000. So we're looking at a $100,000 spread right there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not coincidence. This is your buyer here. This is someone who bought it low, rehabbed it, and now is listing it for $100,000 more. And to confirm the rehab, we have the pictures here at the top left. Here you can see the MLS photos that were uploaded, and you can see how much he has rehabbed it. All right, guys. So again, very powerful system. Great way to find your motivated sellers and your very aggressive buyers. And again, you can save that. You can add it to a list. Call it the Atlanta buyers from January to August. And hit save. New list is created. And yet again, we can create a save search for that so we can notify ourselves if new buyers populate with that criteria. All right, guys, so done. That's the search page. Next is properties. This is where we store those results. So I built two lists. I built my Atlanta tax lien, 60% equity. So here it is right here. And as you can see, as I click on it, the results will populate. Here are my Atlanta buyers. So as I click on that, those will populate. Now, this is the area where you can manipulate or click on the results and edit them, view them one more time. But what you want to be able to do here, what's important here is that you can highlight your list, check off this blank box and highlight them all, or one at a time. And once you do that, you can either remove them from the list, add them to a different group, which is groups are at the top. Think of groups as like a more focused group. So if, let's say, 3 of them have called me back and I want to separate them, I can highlight those 3 and add them to my contacted list, ATL. And so when I do that, we're going to separate those 3 and put them in the contact list ATL. So we went from them being in a list of 73 to them being in a group of 3 now. Okay, so again, you'll be able to highlight your results, remove them, add them to a group, add them to another marketing list that you might have. For those of you, you can hit export. You'll get your Excel sheet. You can rename the list or delete the list entirely. The other thing to focus on are these big boxes at the top. These are our dynamic boxes. So what these boxes are telling us is that I have 17,000 properties. If I click on this box, it's showing me the 679,000 or 679 properties within my 17,000 that have had new recordings. So rather than going through each individual list manually to find the new recordings, I click on this box and it shows me those 679 and what marketing list they belong in or what group they belong in. Same thing with recently sold. So it's going to show me the 57 within my 17,000 saved, status changes, and then my personal favorite, auction. So it's going to go through your 17,000 results and say, hey, there's 67 of them that are up for auction right now. And again, I can highlight them and add them to a group called the Act Now group, for example. And so now, instead of going through all of my marketing lists, I've now clicked on that box, found the 67 I need to pay more attention to, created a group for them, highlight them, and hit export. And that's our properties page for you guys. Again, bottom left is the contracts. If you guys need to use any of our templates, you can. These are not state specific, so please make sure you get them reviewed. The next category is contacts. So very important section here. Again, this is where you'll be able to manually edit contact information. So all you need to do is click on the name. You can edit their information. Some of you will get a lead list outside of our system, and that's fine. You can import that. So select import and just follow steps 1, 2, and 3. So step 1, choose our template here. Download our template. Step 2, copy and paste your records to our template. Step 3, upload our template. Step 4, save or hit save to group. I would recommend hitting save to group. That way you can create your own group here on the left side. Okay. Once you have your group created, you can skip trace that group or send direct marketing to that group. So other than importing, the last important thing here is at the bottom left. This is where your skip tracing will be results will be stored. Okay, so again, we searched, we saved, we manually edited or imported a list. The next step is skip tracing. So this is where you can get contact information. You're going to follow 3 steps. Step 1, select contacts. You're going to choose your group here at the drop-down menu at the top. So I'm going to choose my Atlanta liens. So my marketing Atlanta liens, here are the 60% equity. Once you have them selected, hit Add Selected Contacts. That's going to drop them to the bottom box here. Once they're highlighted in yellow, hit Done. Step 1 is completed. 73 have been selected. I can now hit Next. It's going to take me to the ordering screen. So 30 cents per address. We only charge you if it goes through. So if the address gets results, we're going to charge you. If no results populate, we're not going to charge you at all. So once I place my order, accept the terms and agreements, I get to name my list. So my Atlanta 60% equity with contact info, and now I'm done. So again, once you do the skip tracing and go through steps 1 through 3, you're going to want to go to contacts here on the left side of your toolbar, and your list will be stored in the bottom left. So as you can see, here's my Atlanta list. At the top, you'll notice that the list is processing. However, in due time, we're going to go from processing. So here's the list that's processing. So here's a list that's completed. And what you're going to see is that the emails and phone numbers will automatically be embedded in there for you. And as you can see here in the view summary, we only charge you for what we capture. So the list was originally 36, but only 26 results populated, and that's what we're only charging you for. Okay, guys, so again, we go from processing, no emails, phone numbers, within about an hour or more, depending on how large your list is, it's going to be completed and the results will populate it. And at this point, you can now highlight them and hit the export button, and you'll get your Excel sheet with their phone numbers. Or the last thing you can do is go to our campaign section. So this is the final step, guys. What you're going to want to do here in your JMA Office application is once you have your list saved in Skip Trace, you can go to campaigns, start a new campaign here at the top left. You're going to name the campaign. So we can call this Atlanta Tax Campaign. Then you're going to want to choose your group. So here you can see all the groups that you've saved and marketing lists that you saved, but for most of you, you're going to want to choose from the skip tracing jobs, right? Because you built a list and then you skip traced it, which is technically a new list. So you're going to want to choose the skip tracing jobs list. All right, so in this case, the Atlanta leans with contact information. You can add more than one group. So if you want to campaign to 2 different groups at once, you can do that. If you want to stick to one, just choose one. So again, name the campaign, choose your list, and then hit save here at the top. And once you do that, your campaign will be created, and we're going to give you some quick suggestions. So the first thing is we would like you to create a website. It is for free, but it's a landing page. So let me show you really quick how to do that. You're going to hit Setup Website. We're going to take you to the website editor. Beginning at the top, you're going to see this random number, which matches this random number down below. And this is your URL. So here I can put my name, Burton A. Alicondo, and maybe a little bit about me, or if that's good enough, you can see your URL. So relistings.com is the default, but you get to change everything right after and build that credibility. Below that is the contact email. So your website will have an application. If any of your leads fill it out, this is where we'll send the notifications to. So by default, it's your username, but you can change it to whatever you please. Third step is enable website template. So you'll be able to upload your own background, your own logo, your own pictures. If you don't want to have to keep doing that, if you want us to store your design, click on the enable website template, and then what that will do is it will store your design, and your design will actually be in the last step. If you choose a blank website, you'll start with the blank website, or if you had a template stored, you can choose start with the predefined template, and you'll see your templates here, or you can use one that we've provided you. Okay, so here are your template, or here's the website editor. So in this case, I chose a template. I have a background image, but I can drag a logo in here. I can drag an image. The header text. So this is what I like to call the hook. So as you can see here on the right-hand side, it says we buy houses, which is what it says here. But you can change that. So I buy houses in cash. We close in 30 days. And as you type, you'll notice that the font or the preview will change on the right-hand side. Then you have your body text, which is your body text here. And of course, you guys are seeing this is a preview, but if you want a bigger preview, You can hit preview at the top, and then we're going to provide you an actual preview of the website that you're creating, and you get to see the application. Now, once you've created that, you're done. If you need to get back to it, hit save, and you can get back to it. Or if you want to just publish it, click on publish, and your website's fully activated. Oh, so it looks like this one won't work because I already had this name used. So I'll just put some random numbers in the back. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit publish, and then website is active. So as you can see here, the URL is now live. I can open it in a new tab, and here's my website, which I just created in about 2 minutes. Obviously, you guys can spend more time on it, but just want to show you how efficient and easy it is. All right, so website is done. I can now hit back, and then this is my campaign dashboard. So the name of my campaign, I can shut down the campaign. Be careful with that. It will shut down your website and any activities you have. Below to the left is the campaign start date. To the right of that is your website URL. For those of you who need to edit, you can click on edit and get back to it. Now, as you can see on the far left side is where we have active campaigns. So these are all the different campaigns you might have running. Inactive campaigns are all the campaigns if you shut down. But as you can see, each campaign has its own dashboard, the activities that you've done. Each campaign gets its own website for free. So have fun with that. Now, below the website editor is the activity monitor. So this highlights how many people you have selected in your audience, and then the activities that have been performed, like how many postcards were sent, how many voicemails were delivered, how many people have landed on your website. Now, below the activity manager is pretty much the last step, is the activity manager. So this is where you can create your postcard, voicemail, or email. So let's start with postcard. You're going to hit get started, and it's very similar to the website. So beginning from top to bottom, you're going to name the postcard. Once you name the postcard, so we can call this the tax cards, we're going to choose our size. We have standard sizes, which are 64 cents a piece, or the larger size, which is 5 by 5, 8 by 5. These are 78 cents a piece. So you can choose either or layout. I recommend the standard. It's very common, but the standard one is where most of our templates are at. I'll show you guys in just a second. Again, if you guys are going to be uploading your own design or creating one from scratch, if you don't want to have to do that over and again, check off this box and we'll store it in the template section. For those of you guys that are going to upload your own design, what you're going to want to do is start with the blank postcard and hit done. When you do that, this is the postcard editor. So here's the front side. And again, you can upload an image to the front side. Here are the dimensions that we require. If you don't have an image to upload, you can go to Advanced Edit and just create one from scratch. Again, beginning from top to bottom, we can change the background to yellow. We can drag an image, a background, or a logo. We can hit the header text and move this box around and put a message here at the tops and type that message down below. Hello, I am a local investor. And as you can see, it will populate. Okay, so that's if you create or upload your own design. For most of you, you can hit start predefined, use a predefined template, and we have over 24 and more coming along the way. So you can choose a template that you like. So here's one I like, and boom, now I have our template here assigned for you. You can hit print preview to look at the template before sending it out. Or if you're convinced that this is what you want, you can hit print and mail at the top right, hit publish, and then we're going to send out your postcards for you after you hit continue, and we're going to give you the cost. Now, earlier in the call or in the demonstration, I did talk about the portfolio page having your business information. Here's why that's important. As you're typing out your own font, actually, let me show you this perfect example here. I'm going to remove the font up there. I'll make this big for you guys to see. All right. Now, our system's dynamic. So if you have anything in the portfolio page or your My Account page, you'll be able to use that to your advantage. So here's an example. I'm going to write out my own font. So I'm going to put hello. Oh, actually, let me change that. Make it bigger so you guys can see it. So I'm going to put hello. My name is, and I don't need to type out my name because I already have it in the portfolio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this section here called Insert Field, and I'm going to put my full name. And so when I do that, you'll see this hashtag show up, and then When I deselect that, it's going to populate that up here. Oh, sorry about that. Let me redo that. Should have not deselected that. Let me go back to 48. So again, hello, my name is, and then insert field, my full name, and then you'll see here at the top, my name is automatically applied. I can also do something like this. I am interested in your property located on, insert field, and then we can do property street, space, space, and then do property, city, state, and zip code. And what that's going to do is going to take the properties that you've uploaded and automatically put in their address and zip code and city in there for you, as you guys can see in the postcard. So even though you've used a single template, no two cards will be the same because each owner will have their own name addressing them and their own property address on the card. Okay, guys, so very powerful feature there. The next one is voicemail drops. 4 simple steps. Step 1, choose your caller ID. If you don't have one, add one. And here you can put any caller ID you want to show up on the missed call notification. So you can put a phone number on there and hit save, and then that's now in the drop-down menu. Step 2, add your own recording. So if you are new, you're going to hit add edit recording. You're going to name the recording. So we can call this the tax lien recording. For you tech-savvy guys and gals out there, you can upload your own file. Make sure it's in a WAV format. Hit choose audio file and then upload it from your computer. Or for those of you not so tech-savvy, don't worry. You're going to hit create new recording. We're going to give you an 800 number and a PIN number. So you call the 800 number, dial the PIN. They'll record over the phone for you. Once you're done, hit save new recording. Your recording will be stored in the drop-down menu, and you can actually hit play to listen to your recording. Step 3 is your scheduling. Again, you'll hit add edit. You'll name the schedule, and then you'll choose your time. Now, we only send these calls the day of. So today, if today's Thursday, then they will go out on Thursday between 9 to 5. If it's after the end time, so if it's after 5 p.m., then the calls will go out the following day, in this case, Friday at 9 o'clock. Okay, so be wary with that. Once you have your schedule created, hit save, and then that will be stored in the schedule drop. Okay, so the last step is calls per minute. So we can do 1 call a minute for you, or we can dial 30 numbers at a time. So really, it's up to you on how fast you want to go through your list. So if you have, for example, 300 buyers, we can do 1 call a minute, and that would take 300 minutes, or we can do 30 calls a minute, and that would take 10 minutes. So really up to you guys there. The cost for the voicemail drops are 10 cents. Only if the voice message goes through. So the voice message has to go through for us to bill you the 10 cents. If it does not go through, you do not get billed. Okay. Once you're done there, hit save and activate, and your voicemail drops will go out. The last one is email campaign. So very similar to the website and postcard. You're going to name the email campaign at the top. What do you want the subject line to say on the email? And then below that, if you've created a website with us, we will automatically apply your website as the click-through URL. What that means is that if someone clicks on your email and then clicks on the Learn More button or the picture of the email, they're going to get sent to your website. If you don't have a website with us, but you have your own website, click on Custom URL and you can apply your own website. Now below that is delivery date and time. So we can send them out immediately, or if you uncheck them, you can send them out on a weekend at a given time in a given time zone. Next step is, do you want us to save your template? Again, if you don't want to keep doing this over and over, make sure to check this off so we can store it in the template section. And then last, here at the bottom, do you want to start with a blank email template or use one of our predefined ones? So once I choose a predefined one, very similar to the website, banner, top logo, bottom logo, your header text, which is here on the right-hand side, your body text, which is here on the right-hand side, and then the last thing you can do is choose a layout that you want. And if you want to preview this, you can actually email it to yourself. So you can hit preview here at the top. We'll email you the email so you can take a look at it and see what it looks like before even publishing it. But if you like it and you're convinced, you can hit publish and we're going to send out the emails to your leads. And that pretty much wraps it up. So guys, again, searching is where most of your searching is done. You're going to be able to custom build, use our heat map, set up notifications to the filters you're saving, analyze your properties, run comps. Ultimately, you'll save it to a list. Those will be stored in properties where you can export that list, delete them, migrate them, move them around, or you can go to contacts and manually edit your contact information. Skip tracing will allow you to skip trace so you can get contact information. Campaign allows you to take any of the lists that you've built, either ones that you've built through us or ones that you're importing into our system, and directly market to them. And then last but not least is our help tab. So this is where our video tutorial section is and our contact information is at. But that wraps about it, guys. Again, this is your JMA Office application. I highly recommend you guys give it a shot. You guys do get a trial period. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If you have any question, our support team is very proactive with getting your questions resolved, assisting you with how to run searches. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for your time. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.